Hi, this is Natural Health for All Ages. I'm Dr. Wagner, Doctor of Naturopathic Medicine, which is a branch of medicine looking to help a body heal itself by using natural means. And our topic today is alternatives to the medicine cabinet. So what can you use naturally for like minor aches and pains that you would maybe go to the medicine cabinet for to treat at home? Like why would you want to use anything natural? There's, medicines that can take care of, aches and pains or stomach problems, headaches, things that you might encounter, little maladies that you have on a day-to-day basis. With a lot of times, with the different medications, there's different chemicals, that your body has to process when you take them. They're not, nutritional in any way, so if you are having symptoms that are from an underlying cause, then they're not going to address that naturally, and the body must detoxify them. So sometimes the medicines can be hard on the organs that get rid of things on your body, like the liver or like the kidneys. So if those organs are suffering, then you may not want to use a lot of medications as well. Also, medications can have side effects that you're not desiring, because when you take them internally, they just don't target the organ systems that you're wanting them to target. They flow around the whole body and get into all your tissues as well. So they can have side effects. And a lot of times they're not handling the cause of the problem, they're just covering up the symptoms, which sometimes that allows you to function, so that's great. But there are alternative methods that you can use that are a little bit healthier to the body. Also, with natural means, you don't have as much the rebound effect, where if you're taking a medication frequently, like if you have a problem that comes up often for you and you're using a lot of over-the-counter medication, your body is still trying to do that. It forms more receptors. When you go off the medication, you get a worse reaction than what you started with, which usually doesn't happen with a more natural mean. Now, the first thing I'm going to address is a common problem that a lot of people go to the medicine cabinet for is headaches. And, a lot of people either have them cyclically or maybe just occasionally, or they have migraine headaches that are, severe or, debilitating even. And one simple way, to address just pain in the head is that your whole nervous system is floating in some fluid. And if you're dehydrated, sometimes those nerve endings are, have pain. And they've shown some studies that just drinking a glass of water, rehydrating yourself is just as effective as taking the pain medication with a glass of water, because it really is the water that's hydrating you, helping your immune system become a little bit less irritated just by itself. So if it's been hot, or if you haven't drank a lot, or if you drank a lot of caffeine lately and you're dehydrated, sometimes just a bunch of water will help alleviate the headache, and it's simple to do. Another thing is using water in another way is hydrotherapy. And a lot of times when people have headaches, it's a congestive headache. There's too much blood in the head and the vessels are constricted, and it's just causing pain in the head. So an easy way to redistribute the circulation is put cold to the head, like wherever the headache is. You get some ice, and then on your extremities, you want to put them in heat. So either take a warm bath or put your hands or your feet in some hot water. That way you're dilating the peripheral vasculature, and you're making the blood flow into the extremities and away from the head. So you're constricting it up here, you're dilating it down here, and you're kind of relieving the congestion from the body. And a lot of times that can be very effective in headaches as well, and it's something simple that people can do at home without any medication. Also, magnesium itself, an herb, does the same thing in that all your vasculature, your blood vessels, are lined in smooth muscle, and magnesium helps those dilate and relax. So if you take a lot of magnesium, 500, maybe 1,000 milligrams, it helps to dilate the peripheral vasculature, again making the blood move into the rest of the body away from the head. So if it's a congestive headache, you get a lot of relief there. It also can help in tension headaches, because a lot of times you get that constriction of the muscles, whereas the magnesium can help them relax as well and cause the pain to go away, because that constricts the circulation to the head. Another it's a fun thing to have on hand too, is peppermint. And peppermint, you can either use it in an essential oil, which it smells wonderful. Just sometimes smelling it can help relieve a headache. It's very easy to use. You can either just roll it on your temples or wherever you're having the headache. Sometimes you need a carrier oil depending on your essential oil, so you can put some olive oil or grapeseed oil on the skin first, put the essential oil on that, because sometimes essential oils can be irritating. But it smells great, It works well. You can also use peppermint in other means, like a, like a tea, which is useful for other things as well. But you can just grab some up if it's loose leaf and take it that way. But the peppermint oil for the headaches works a little bit better and quicker because you're putting it right on the area of the pain. Another thing really useful for headaches is something called cell salts, which I've mentioned before in some of my other talks. But there are low-dose homeopathics of different tissue salts in your body of minerals, and some that are really good. There is a mag phos, which has the magnesium. It works kind of like the supplement magnesium, but it's slightly homeopathic, so it works fast. It's very pleasant to take. It tastes better than magnesium supplements. It's on usually little sugar pellets. You put them in your mouth. They dissolve really rapidly, so they also help with the tension headaches, as well as relaxing the blood vessels. Another cell salts, which the cell salts, they're usually in the Highland brand in the health food stores. Almost all health food stores carry them, and they always have the number 6X after them, which means they're cell salts. Sometimes you get a 3X. But another one that's very useful for any type of pain and inflammation is called ferrum phos. And so you can get this in the same, you can even combine the two of them. So if you want to take the ferrum phos and the mag phos together, you just take 4 or 5 pellets of each. You can take them every 15 minutes if you have a severe symptoms, or once an hour, or if you just have mild symptoms, you can just take them a couple times during the day, looking for things to resolve that way. So they taste good, they're easy to carry. Nature muriaticum is a third cell salt that's good if you have a headache that's more like pounding and your eyes are sensitive to light, and that can be helpful as well. There is a herb called white willow bark, which is what they extracted aspirin out of in the past, and that can be used. It has a little bit less side effects than straight aspirin because it is the whole herb. It has all the constituents that work together that you're taking in it, but you can also get that from the health food store. Helps to alleviate pain on a temporary basis. For migraines, they've actually shown that people who suffer from a lot of migraines are actually low in usually CoQ10 and magnesium. So if you suffer from migraines, I would definitely say take some CoQ10, probably like 50 to 100 milligrams a day, which CoQ10 is an energy producer in your mitochondria. So it's like the brain is not getting its enough energy produced, so it's suffering in that way. Or magnesium also, because it also affects the vasculature, which people suffering from migraine headaches, can have abnormalities in that in the brain as well. So if you increase the magnesium and the CoQ10, sometimes that can alleviate the severity or the frequency of the migraine headaches. Feverfew is also an herb. It's very pretty. You can even grow it. It looks like a daisy. It's very pretty. It grows abundantly. It'll spread for you. You can buy it at the health food store. And what it is good for is migraines, but it's not going to help you if you have a migraine. It's more of a preventive for a migraine. So if you are prone to migraines and okay, I usually get them at this time of the month, or I get them like every week, you can use them beforehand, which you can take a capsule, or you can even grow the flower and just eat like a leaf a day. Some people get a little sensitive in their mouth from eating the leaves over time, but other people it's perfectly fine. They just if one leaf is too much, then just take a half a leaf and just you can just consume that. Helps to prevent the migraines from even beginning. Another really good thing to help with headaches is if you can find a good homeopathic remedy. Now homeopathic remedies are very dilute substances, and what they're meant to do is help the body correct itself. But what you have to do when you take a homeopathic remedy is match them up to your symptoms, match your symptoms up to a remedy that's known to correct that type of pain. So if you're taking one that's not indicated for you, it's not going to do a lot of good. But if you get the same kind of headaches often, if you can find a remedy, that's usually all you just need to take it whenever you need it, and it can alleviate your symptoms. Sometimes you may need a little bit of help, find a homeopath or a naturopath that can find the remedy for you, and a lot of times that's all you need, and sometimes they'll become less frequent or less severe, and eventually you don't even need the homeopathic remedy anymore either. Some common remedies, nature muriaticum, just like the cell salt, there's a homeopathic version. So if you find the cell salt works a little bit, but it's not handling your symptoms, You can go up to the homeopathic remedy. You just, dissolve one of the pellets in your mouth as needed, and sometimes, that's all you need. Again, the Nature Muriaticum is that pounding headache, sensitivity to light with the eyes. Bryonia is another common homeopathic for headaches, and Bryonia is a herb that is known homeopathically for anything that's worth the least motion. So if you have a headache where it's like you just want to lay still, even moving your eyes hurts the headache, Bryonia is very much indicated for that type of symptom. Sanguinaria is another common headache remedy where it's like a tension headache that starts on the right side and kind of climbs up around the top of the head over to the eye, but it's usually all right-sided, can go into the shoulder. Iris is another remedy that's known for a lot of migraine headaches. If you have like nausea and vomiting, that it's like one of those severe migraines where it's like you feel like you can't move or you're going to vomit. There's also other remedies as well, but those are some common ones. Another thing that you might go to the medicine cabinet for, say you scraped yourself or you have a bruise and you have pain, there's some natural things that you can use to stop infection, increase healing, and help the body heal itself a little bit more naturally, instead of always reaching for the pain medication or antibiotics. The first thing that you can use, it's made from flowers, calendula, and you can a lot of times just buy a little ointment. And calendula is part of the marigold family. It's a pretty flower. You can even grow it yourself, but you just open it up, put a little bit on the scrape, and it's very healing. It helps to prevent infection. So it's a good thing just to have on hand. You can also, with the ferrum phos, again, anything that has inflammation or redness, this is actually good, like if you have a child that scraped their knee and they're crying, it's painful, but it's just like a little scrape. But you can give this to them internally, but you can also just take a couple pellets, add a drop of water, make it into a little bit of a paste, rub it on the cut, and a lot of times that will help alleviate the pain right then. I've had that work for me. I just tried it on my daughter, and it just seemed to take away the pain pretty readily, so that was good. The kids like them. They like the sea salts. They taste good. Even topically, it doesn't stick to you. Once you're done with it, you just wash it off and it just dissolves almost instantly. If you have like a bruise, like you hit yourself and it's very painful, or something, a tree branch falls on you or something, you got hit with like a ball if you're playing baseball, then you can use arnica, which is a very good herb for bruising anytime like something is a blunt trauma to the body. You can use it in an herbal preparation if the skin is not broken. If there's the skin is intact, then you can go ahead and use the arnica herb. But if there's a cut or some type of abrasion, you don't want to use the herb because it can be very irritating to the tissues once they're open. So use it herbally that way. You can use arnica homeopathically even if the skin has been broken. But if there's that that bruised pain, it can help tremendously in that sort of situation. Another really good thing to use just for cuts is this type of honey. It's actually a honey from New Zealand, and any type of honey is actually a little bit healing, and even any type of sugar on a cut will prevent infection because it's so concentrated nothing can really live in it. But Manuka honey is actually very famous in that it has a lot of antimicrobial effects. It's even been used into bandages. Certain hospitals use it around the world. And you just, if you have like a open, cut, you can just put a little bit on there, or, spread a little bit on a bandage and then, put it on there so it's not going to get your clothes all sticky, or, wrap a little bandage around your arms so you're not going to get sticky. And the Manuka honey is generally pretty expensive, but it lasts forever, and you can use it like regular honey. You can put it in your tea, like if you have a cold, so you can use it for other, situations as well. But it's very good for preventing infection. Another thing that you can also use for any cuts or abrasions is aloe vera. This is the juice, which, with the juice, you can either soak a little bandage in it, put it on the cut, wrap it up so it's staying next to the skin. You can buy aloe vera in a gel, or you can even grow the plant and, break off a leaf, break it open, and rub the inside gel on your skin. It's very healing, helps the skin heal faster. You know, helps prevent infection, and it helps to prevent scarring. So it's very good. They say that Cleopatra, she owed her, you know, her beautiful complexion to aloe vera. So it's very good for the skin, even for the mucous membranes. Like if you bite your cheek or something on the inside, you can put some of the gel in there, or even swish some of the juice around your mouth. It's very healing as well. If you happen to have an injury to a place that has a lot of nerves, like your toes or your fingers, you know, it's very painful. If that pain, you know, is lasting or it's not, you know, going away quickly, you can take a homeopathic remedy called hypericum, which is known for that, you know, injury to nerve endings, which that can be very helpful. There's also another homeopathic remedy called natrum sulfuricum that's known for head injuries. So you want to, you know, obviously if you have a concussion, you want to go to the hospital. If you have a, you know, like a head injury, but you keep getting like recurrent headaches or something from that, you can try the natrum sulfuricum, but, you know, also check out why you're having that as well. Okay, the next, you know, topic, another thing that you would reach for, you know, open up the medicine chest, see what you can have there to help yourself is if you have an upset stomach, or like your abdomen is, you know, cramping or having a lot of pain, you ate something, you know, that just didn't agree with you, or you ate too much. And the easiest way to fix that is, you know, if you ate too much and your digestive enzymes are really overloaded and trying to process all these foods, the one thing you can do is just take some digestive enzymes to help your body out. You usually don't need to increase the hydrochloric acid or the pepsin for the stomach, but pancreatic enzymes like the lipases and the carboxylases and the proteinases, if you take some of those, a lot of times it will help relieve your symptoms from overeating. Other things, I mean, you don't really want to eat necessarily if you have an upset stomach, but another thing that has a lot of digestive enzymes and can sometimes help alleviate tummy ache is a little bit of pineapple. Since pineapple has a lot of digestive enzymes in it, it can help break down other foods very readily. So maybe if something didn't agree with you versus that you're stuffed, you can eat a little bit of pineapple, and that can calm things down a little bit. Also with the apple cider vinegar, you can find this, you know, in Meijer's, you can find it in health food stores, but it's chock full of digestive enzymes as well, or just enzymes, so that it really helps to break down, you know, different foods rapidly. So if you overate and you're not feeling good, you can take like a teaspoon or two and a little bit of water, or straight, however you know, it's pretty strong tasting, but you can dilute it if you want to. But, you know, get it in there, and a lot of times, you know, a little bit, that it will ease your stomach problems. There are a couple homeopathic remedies. This one is called Nux vomica. That's common, like if you just ate too many things and too many spices, or, you know, too much, you know, rich food, and your stomach is, your liver feels like it's like, you know, backed up, and you're cranky because your whole digestive system is not working well. Maybe you're having some cramps. Nux vomica is a common one. There's also a homeopathic remedy called pulsatilla, which is also readily available in health food stores, and that's usually if you ate too much fat, like too much gravies and too much rich food, and your digestive system is just not liking that. So you can use the pulsatilla as well. Also, if you have like a lot of cramping in the digestive system, there's an herb called chamomile, which you can do as like a tea. Even for babies, you can make like a tea, put it in a wash rag in warm water, wring it out, and place it on the tummy. It helps cramping. You can, you know, sip on the tea to ease cramping as well. Another herb that's really good for digestive problems, this is ginger. And you can buy it at any, you know, grocery store usually. You can buy it in capsules or, you know, a tea. But one of the easiest things is just to keep some of this in the freezer. If you need some, you just peel back the bark a little bit, chop a couple slices in some water, boil it for a couple minutes, and then just drink that as a tea. So it's very easy just to keep on hand. It really helps the digestive, you know, system, you know, rev up a little bit and overcome some of its problems. There's another herb called fennel. Like if you're having a lot of gas and bloating, it's just kind of painful, you can do the same thing. You can either get the fennel seeds and just chew them up in your mouth. They taste a little bit like black licorice. Or you can just throw a couple teaspoons full in some water, boil them for a couple minutes, and you'll make a tea out of it and just drink the tea, and that's relieving for a lot of gas problems as well. Also, you can get in a health food store, it's called activated charcoal. It's usually in capsules. You can buy in a loose powder sometimes. You can either just take the capsules or, stir like a teaspoon into a cup of water, let the big pieces settle, and then the water's kind of grayish. You just drink that water. And what the activated charcoal does, it has a lot of little pockets that it grabs onto little, particles in the digestive system like toxins, and it kind of grabs onto them like a sponge so that they're not available to irritate the intestines anymore. So you can do that, and it's perfectly safe. Your stool will turn a little bit, gray or black depending on how much you take, but it's perfectly safe to take, and it's readily available. It's easy to keep on hand at home in the medicine cabinet in case you feel like, oh, I ate something bad, and I need something to absorb that before it affects me further in that way. Okay, another thing that you might consider you might need a little help with is some insect bites. It's summertime, people are gardening or playing sports, so we come in contact with a lot of insects, and they can cause, pain and irritation. One of the easiest things that you can do is, most people have, just a regular tea bag at home. You just, put some water on it so that the tea is in some, solution a little bit. You can put that right on the insect bite. The tannins in the tea will a lot of times neutralize the poisons in the sting or the bite, and so you can just hold that on there. You can also use baking soda, which most venoms, like bee venom, like in their sting, is acidic. So if you add some of the baking soda, which is very basic, it neutralizes that venom to a certain extent. So you just make a little paste, put a little bit with a little bit of water on the sting or the bite, and just let it sit there for a while, and a lot of times that will relieve the pain by itself. Also, homeopathically, there's a remedy called apis, which is made from the honeybee. It's made for, like, if there's a lot of swelling or stinging and heat. So if you have like something bit you or something stung you and you're swelling up a lot, then a lot of times apis is indicated. Ledum is another homeopathic remedy. It's spelled L-E-D-U-M, and it's useful for puncture wounds. So if somebody has like a puncture, like a sting or a mosquito bite where something's puncturing the skin and they have a big reaction to that, a lot of times the remedy Ledum will help to alleviate those symptoms as well. Also, the nature muriaticum, just like the cell salt nature muriaticum, if you have the swelling too, not quite as much as the apis, you can try that one as well if you have it on hand. Okay. Another thing that you can, need help with sometimes, especially during the summer, we're doing sports, we're gardening, is if you overdo it, you have some sprains or some strains, you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, I'm so stiff, I can barely move. A very common homeopathic remedy for that is Rus tox. It's actually made from the poison ivy plant, but homeopathically it's perfectly safe even for people who are allergic to poison ivy to take internally. And it has that characteristic, it's mostly stiffness, where it's like you've overdone something, you're stiff, but heat and movement, kind of like once you get going, you're okay, but it's just that initial movement, getting going is very difficult. Also ruta, like if you have a sprain or a strain to any ligament, they don't have a lot of good blood supply, so a lot of times that type of connective tissue takes a long time to heal. So ruta a lot of times will help the body heal those quicker and take away some of the pain and inflammation. Also, Epsom salts. Epsom salts are wonderful for any types of sprains and strains. You can just put some into some water. You can either take a bath in it or just soak the limb. Like if you injured your wrist, you can soak that in a little bit of bin. This one actually has some lavender, so it kind of relaxes you as well as if you're taking a bath. But they come in different scents or just plain. But it really helps to decrease the inflammation, gets the lymphatic system going to move the fluids so that it's not so stagnant in the area. Also digestive enzymes again. Again, on an empty stomach, they help to go around the body and chew up inflammatory particles so that they can really help pain and inflammation if you take them on an empty stomach. You can take them, several times a day as needed. Also the ferrum phos again for the pain and inflammation, the cell salts, that's easy to keep on hand. Ferrum phos, I keep it on hand all the time because it's useful for so many things. Also alternating heat and cold. Like if you have a sprain, the first 24 hours maybe ice it, but then after that what you want to do is the ice will drive out the blood. Well, you want to bring in fresh blood, so you put like a warm pack on, something that's warm for like 3 minutes, but then the blood will stagnate if you keep the heat on too long. So then after 3 minutes of warm, you put on 30 seconds of cold to drive out the blood. So you're kind of bringing in new blood, chasing it out, bringing in new blood, chasing it out. So you're really increasing healing. You just alternate that a couple of times a day. Other things that you can use, like say you injured yourself, you're getting a lot of muscle cramps, you can use the calcium, add magnesium as well. There's also actually the Epsom salts is really good for cramps too, because it has a lot of the magnesium and it helps to relax the muscles. There is in the cell salts, there's the mag-phos as well as the calc-phos, which are calcium phosphate, which can help muscle cramps. And there's also a homeopathic herb called cramp bark, which can help relieve if you have a chronic condition where you're chronically getting a lot of cramps in the muscles, maybe at night when you go to bed, etc. So those are just some tips. We're running out of time a little bit here, so there's just some common things that you can have in your medicine cabinet. So you don't always have to reach for a medication, to use some, drugs to deal with your pain. You can have a lot of these things you can just have around the house, to deal with the situations. So look for future topics. This was Natural Health for All Ages, and thank you for tuning in.